Hi guys, Slashing Dragon here, and we are going to continue. We're going to do another session of development of OpenArthurianX6. So we're continuing with the item transferring thing. This was done already. This cannot leave instrument mode when playing from mob inventory. I can do that later. Remove spendable items from which inventory. Yeah, so I'm kind of just coming back to this, trying to remember where we were at since it's been about a week since I last worked on it. So yeah, let's go and check. Remove spendable items. So we did some changes here. Before we only had like for the player, we had a single inventory, and so when you spent an item, well, it was simple to just um, remove it from that inventory. But now when you get something like this potion, for example, and then you use it, uh, what inventory should we remove it from? And I think the items don't currently have like reference to the inventory or to the container they are on, and I guess we're going to have to add that. I don't see any other way to fix this. Um, so let's do that. And when an item is added to a container, let's check that. So this is the container on the UI side. There's like two container things right now. This should be named like container pop-up or something like that. Um, and then there's the actual container that represents like the logic part of it. It's an inventory, actually, that's the name. um, so we need, when an item is added, we need to save a reference to this container, and there's logic for that. So it's, if it's stackable, there's one thing, because we may be adding to the existing item, and if it's not, it's simpler. So something like this is what we need. We need to set the container of the item to this, and we also need to do that here. This is when there's like a stack overflow. In that case, a new item is added, and it also needs to be on this container. And if there is no existing item, then we are adding the item to a free slot. So yeah, there's like a logic here that uh, is kind of mixed up, because we are looking through all the items and seeing if the item is already here. What is this? I don't know where we are using this. I guess we're used to have it somewhere else. Right now it doesn't make sense for it to return anything. I don't know what's happening with this. Add item to free slot. Okay. I think this used to be part of some function. So it's kind of running through the entire items list, and if there's certain slot in there that is empty, then it assigns the item to that slot. Okay, I understand now. Well, this actually doesn't use the return value, but it returns, it breaks. It should be something like this. That's more readable. But yeah, I think there's like a conflict here between the visual representation of the container and the logic part. I think we're going to have to address that even more in deep with the position of the item inside the container grid. But for now, I think we will not worry about that, at least not in this context. So we will always just be adding the item to the last. I mean, because if we do that here, hmm, I think we can always set the container here, probably, and then let the logic happen anywhere like this. So we can address the other issues afterwards. Um, we are setting the container to the container, and then here, when we expand it, we are going to go to the container. So something like this, item.container dot, and then, well, not container. Yeah, there's like a confusion of terms here because we have containers inventory. This is actually an instance of the inventory class, but it's the container. So let's leave it like this, and then remove item. Does this even work? It should work. Yeah, and I don't see why it will not. So remove, well, we will know in a second. So remove item. Okay, but we cannot just remove it. We should reduce item quantity. Okay, that's here too. Of item. Okay. I think that's one instance of inventory that we still had to remove. And then we had another one, I believe. I mean, let's see in the plan. Drop items. Okay, that's another thing. But let's fix this one first. So get this, and then let's use that. And item.container is undefined. Why? Why is it undefined? Oh, current container. Okay, I think that worked. If we check the container, it should no longer have that yellow potion. That's good. And then this is pretty old, I believe. I'm not sure if we need it or if we need something equivalent to the new for the new model of the inventory pop-ups. Yeah. That's a good question. When an item is used, yeah, there's something else. So when we're using an item, if you noticed, um, maybe we should like close the existing pop-ups because it may overlap. And it the question I'm wondering that is that it's related because right now what we're doing here is we're going to update the contents of this inventory pop-up or this container to not include the potion anymore. But if the game closes this when an item is used, then we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's a tricky thing. I'm wondering what to do about it. For now, let's not close it, but then we need to find out a way of fixing that. If we don't do this, then it would seem that the item is still there even if it's already spent on the inventory. What? Yeah, that was expected. Um, if we close this and open it again, it's no longer there. Um, and also, I guess this is going to let us use the item multiple times. Yeah, that's not good. And then I'm stuck in this. Why am I stuck? I don't know. Alright, so currently when you move um, items from one container to the other, you call this, I believe, yeah, that's when dragging ends. So I'm not sure, I don't think, well, whenever a container is opened, we are kind of copying the, so we're sending an inventory to it. We could also keep a reference to the container itself on the inventory, and then we could refresh it, something like this, inventory that current container window is this, and then from here, when an item is used, I forgot where that was, here we would do something like this, like item.container.current container window, current container window, something like called the sync function. It's a private function, so I don't know. Update dragging, start dragging. Maybe I should make it public. Open, close, bring to top, scroll down, scroll up. Yeah, this is a private function, but I believe that it should be exposed probably. Um, let's try that, then we can fix and make it look better. This one doesn't receive any parameter, so yeah. Undefined. So for some reason, oh, I forgot to say, maybe that was it? I don't know. Yeah, I think that was it. Well, it didn't work. It did not work. I'm not sure. Oh, because we copied the inventory on the container. We are not working on the same object. And actually, there's another item here, persist container inventory changes, which is related to that. Maybe we should not create a shallow copy of it and instead work in the same list. That may bring some issues. I think the reason why I copied that was that this list was being modified in some ways that I didn't think were something that could change the original inventory list, the repositioning. Because of that logic, where was that? I don't know, somewhere. mm, but for now, let's try to not do this and just assign the list directly. That way, whenever that list changes, like when the item is spent, we should be able to sync. That worked. But let's see how this works. So let's try dragging this here and then closing the window and open it again. And there was a problem, maybe? No, there was not a problem. Okay, and let's try dragging this and then putting this here. Let's see what happens. And then let's try using this. Okay. Okay, it looks like it works. Maybe we will find the bug afterwards, but for now it seems to work. So what did we do? We are, instead of addressing this, we are addressing the container and the current container window, and which is good, but we need to set references to these two things, and that's what we do here and here. Let's remove this to do. We no longer want not to do that. And what we are doing here is remove spent items from their container inventory. Drop items. So drop items is interesting because also persist container inventory changes. Let's see if by doing what we did this was addressed too. Let's open this, open our backpack, close us, open this barrel. Let's get this fish and let's see if it's on our inventory now. It's there. Okay, so yeah, by keeping the reference to the inventory, we kind of solved that. I think that there's something we gotta fix to allow opening the inventories from the map. Something happened. Okay, so the fish was there. It's no longer there. Okay. Mm, so that one's done already. Drop items. So the problem with drop items is that the drop command is no longer working at all, because the way that it used to work was that you were in the inventory mode, but in the old inventory mode, which was keyboard based, and then you click D and then you could drop the selected item in a given direction, but the entire keyboard UI for the inventory is no longer working. So we need to decide what to do with that. One thing that probably was already here, well, I don't see it, is this. Yeah, allow dropping items by dragging them into the world. um, because right now they just get lost. If I move this fish somewhere, well, it disappears from the player's inventory, but it's not added to the world. So yeah, we need to fix that and also validate the distance, because the idea is that you should be able to drop stuff, but maybe only in a given radius or something like here. um, the other option is being able to select an item here. So you single click and then it's selected, and then you can drop it, but that brings a conflict with the containers, because that's how containers are currently being opened, by single clicking on them. You want to make sure we're not breaking stuff here. Yeah, I think that positioning of the things in here may be troublesome when new items are being added. I need to troubleshoot that. Let's do that before jumping into the drop thing. So the use case is pretty simple. Let's do something like this. Let's move this book here, and then let's get this potion. Let's see where it placed it. So it placed it like in the last position, because um, it believes or it thinks that this is full, but it's not full. And the reason why that is happening is in the get on direction, gets an item, and then adds the item to the backpack, which is a container. No, it's an inventory. And then it's using this item to free slot. Not really, it's using this, but in the container, when you put something down, you put it on the index, so it's kind of expanding the array. mm, it's not like an XY position, it's just the index where it's putting it. um, yeah, that's a problem. This is like the difference between the display index and the actual position, and I don't think I think here we should not be doing this. but rather adding it to the last position. Yeah, I think that should fix it. I'm not sure if it's here because this is where dragging starts. No, it's not here. It's on the when it ends. When it ends. Something here. Adding an item to a container from another container. So on a given position, and what I think is that this position should not matter. We're using it to know if we are dropping it in on top of another item. Let's let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's just add it. But not like this. This changes completely. We're just going to push it, and the way that we're going to do that is using the actual function on the inventory class to add an item. Yeah. So by doing this, it's also always going to be added to the last position on the inventory, no matter where you're dropping it. So let's say that I do this. Well, it did not really work. Did I build? I don't remember if I did. I always forget because I'm switching projects and some of them have watch some kind of watch process configured that rebuilds automatically. Um, why? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, we are not keeping a reference to the inventory itself, but just to the list of items. That's not good. Um, yeah, that's not ideal. Let's not do that. But it's not going to be a quick change because what we are going to do is keep a reference to the inventory itself, not to the items on the inventory. Oh, how did this work? Okay, because we are using it. I don't know how it worked. It should not have worked. Oh, well, because it's using this reference. Okay. Any case, we should not do that. What we could do is something like this. I'm not actually very comfortable with this sync inventories function, but maybe some of it or most of it is not needed anymore. Uh, let's see, start dragging. If there's an item, we are removing it. I think here instead of doing this, we should remove it from the inventory. um, get item index at point. We obtain the item. If there's an item, then we kind of remove it, but uh, no, this is not good. We should remove it like for good. Using the remove item function. It's similar, but not the same. Remove item. Last item index. Not sure what we use it for. We're going to find out. This inventory should no longer be referenced as if it was a list of items directly. So here we just add it back. And then last item index is no longer needed unless it's referenced somewhere else. It's not. Let's see how it works. So, well, something broke. It's not refreshing well. So let's see the changes that we did. Inventory is no longer just a list, it's an inventory. Object, and but in here, oh, this dot inventory dot items, I believe that's how it should be. Yeah. Okay, so here are the items. Let's try moving them around. Great. Yeah, that's what I expected. That's much better, because that will allow us to also do stuff like this. Bloop. Okay, I like it. And then good. Yeah, I think we needed to do that change before proceeding with the drop things. Remove expendable items, which should also work similarly. So let's get that potion, and then let's check our inventory. It's here. Let's put it like in here. Oh, we cannot do that now, but I don't think that's a big issue. And then let's try using it. Great. Great, but it broke things. Why? That's weird. There were no errors. We're stuck like on a state. Let's see how easy is it to replicate. We just put this here, and then we try using it. Okay, it's easy to replicate, which is great. What's happening? After we are using the item, it seems like we are stuck on a state, and I don't think it's something that we just introduced because all the changes that we did were internal to this container class. Um, these two functions are now the same. Yeah, I think the problem was already existing. Um, Not sure why we didn't detect it though. So when we are using that and it's been spent, sync inventory icons, what is it doing? No, it's not doing anything with the game state. Um, it's not doing anything with the game state, so not sure what's going on. I have to check into the mob code. So if it's used, we do this. Use item in position is called where is it being called? Use in position. Floating item. We need to check that how that's working right now, like with the keys. I mean, what do we want to happen? We want to stay on the inventory mode. Can we move around? What mode are we in? So let's try checking that. I forget where that happens. Do we have an input class? No, we don't. Where can I place a breakpoint? Maybe in the mob class on the. Where do we check for action enabled? Several places. Item clicked, update, item double clicked. So let's place a breakpoint on there on item clicked. See what's going on. Bloop. So action enabled, it's true. Okay. So the current state is 5. What is 5? I don't know. But okay, so there's no handler for item clicked. But 5, so what is 5? 5 is targeting. Okay. So this mode is something that is also related to the keyboard thing. And it's because let's try something. Let's see if we get this potion and then let's try to use it on this guy. And then we are still stuck on targeting. um, so it's set when the select direction thing is called or when the select position thing is called, and it's checked here. Okay, but yeah, implicitly we are also referring to it when in the main game loop, because if we're stuck in this mode then the world thing don't work. So we're switching to that whenever I think something is calling select direction here. Use either here or here, probably this one, and then select direction. is setting us on targeting mode. And yeah, then comes the question of whether we should try to support both keyboard and mouse, or just mouse. If we are only going to support mouse, then we probably don't need this mode, or we still need this mode. Come to think about it, I think what is happening is we are not going back to the inventory mode whenever we finish using the item, and I'm not sure what that is happening, because we should be resetting the state. Are we resetting the state? So use item on player state machine, use item. What is happening here? Let's try to use that potion and see what's going on. So it's going to go to the targeting mode. Right now we are in targeting mode, and we select a target, which is going to be ourselves, and then it's going to use the item, and it's not resetting the state because it's not using self. It's weird because it's it's supposing that this select direction function is resetting the state, but it's not. This select direction function should be resetting the state. Well, but oh no, not this one. Inside the select direction function. So in here we set the targeting and set the callback to this. We never changed the state. Oh, well, we are switching to targeting, but we are never like resetting the state. So I'm not sure why we put this here. But then in any case, it doesn't seem to be a good idea. So let's remove that check. Use the potion. And what did I put this here? I don't know what happened there. Yes, I think it worked. Oh, that S is in here. Okay. Well, it worked. Not sure why that check was there in first place. That was for items that were used on self, like this guy. So if we're using this loot, okay, so it's resetting the state after we used it. But I don't think that should be related to being usable on self or not. It's just that if the item is to be used on self, so unless, this is tricky, I mean, because using some items will result in a transition to a state that is different to targeting. So maybe we should check if we are in targeting. And if we are in targeting, we should reset state. I'm not sure if that's very clean, but that's what I think. Oh, are we checking state? Okay. See, if we are still in targeting, then we reset the state. This is the correct way to refer to the states. Get the loot, use it, leave, and we're back to this state. Get the potion, and then also use it, and get back to this state. Okay. Oops, what happened there? Oh gosh, we're stuck. But this is different. We're stuck and okay, I think that was documented. I think I recalled cannot leave instrument mode when playing from mob inventory. Or I recall we were able to do just that. I think what's happening there is that we are like overusing it. So if we use it once, we can leave the mode. Let's use it again. And we can no longer leave the mode. And that just happened on the first thing. Let's check, maybe we are calling use more than once and then like messing up with the flow. Oh well, something happened there. mm, where was I? I'm putting that as a login message so it doesn't interrupt the flow. Let's see, get this item and let's try using it. So I clicked it once, nothing happened. Click twice and I can move. It's working so far. Aha, something happened there. So I managed to use it twice. Now I'm stuck. Okay, yeah, there seems to be an issue there. Uh, the transition to the I'm being able to use an item twice, and I think I already noted something similar with the potions in here. Maybe if you click very fast or something. And then it's stuck. Yeah. So I think this is related to the double click to use hidden things and the logic for that. So it seems like if we triple click inside the timing for the double click, it's sending uh, two callbacks or calling the double click callback twice. Still not sure if that's the case. Maybe it's not a question of timing, but some kind of 6 times. It called it 6 times. It's not a question of timing. It's like these old timers that were already there are not being properly disposed. Maybe. So when I click this, but I don't complete the double click. So I click 1, 2, 3 times, and then double click. I used it twice. It's going to be messy. So let's check into the logic. I kind of forgot where it was. So I'm going to have to check the repository. Let's check into OpenArthurianX6, the commits that were made. That was probably recent. Double click to use items, work in progress. Okay, so that explains it. So what we did here is creating a class called double tap behavior with the callbacks, and this should be okay. I mean, the problem should be inside the double tap behavior itself. So when we click on an item, I still cannot get it using the keyboard. Add the mouse. Click count is not being properly reset because it's reset either when the time is elapsed or when the double click is done. I believe it should also be cleared somewhere, like if you click What's happening here? It's tricky. It's not simple. It's like because it should be going back to zero when the time elapses. One thing to consider here is that the double tap callback is being called twice. How is that even possible? Uh, if I mean once it's 2, we're setting it to 0. So unless it's like two concurrent events happening, um, hmm. If there is a single click timer, maybe that clear timeout is not working well. Single click timer is like whenever there's an input up, we check this. Hmm. Maybe in here we should also set the click count to 0. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's try. Let's try and see. Get the loot and then try to use it. So first let's confirm. Okay, no, that didn't work because we are always cleaning the count. I think the problem is that we are like creating a new click timer when the click count is 2, but that doesn't make sense. Clear timeout. Something's wrong here. Or maybe it's not in here but somewhere up there. Like if we are creating this double tap behavior incorrectly. Um, like if we are creating more than one double tap behavior, maybe, and it's not being disposed correctly and the events still happen. We can check that. Let's see. Create 3, create 4, click, 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 double click. Oh well, did I rebuild? Oh, I gotta remove this. Interesting. 3 and 4. So it recreates the double tap behaviors whenever it's refreshing the grid. Oh, interesting. So it's hmm. So let's confirm something. If we don't drag, does it work well? Maybe we are accidentally dragging because of the frantic double clicking. There, it created more double tap handlers, and then when we double tap, it's going to use it twice because there's more than one. So this double tap, yeah, I think that's the problem with the instantiation of the double tap behavior, because it's happening, well, this is correct. Whenever it's being created, we create a double tap behavior for that sprite. Uh, but then when we sync inventory items, we are creating a new double tap behavior. Why we're doing that, I don't know. I don't know, because this sprite, this is a double tap behavior for the sprite, and this is a double tap behavior for the display item. And what is the display item? I don't know. Display items is an array, and we are constantly moving that. Not sure how constant, but and then the double tap behavior for this is similar to the double tap behavior that is created here. Why do we need this? Do we even need this? I mean, the sprite should already have the double tap behavior. I don't know. It's weird. Let's see if the sprite of the item uh, keeps. Doesn't seem like it keeps the double tap behavior from where it was created. What happened there? Did I drop that? Okay, I think I dropped it here and then it was lost or something like that. Oh, funny bug. Player will not like that to lose an item forever to the void. That's not good. Well, we are past the hour of development, so I guess that's the end for today. At least we found out the issue was with the instantiation of these behaviors. I still don't know what I'm going to do about it. Mm, Maybe if the display item already has a double tap behavior, we don't want to create a new one. We just want to update it so that it works with a different sprite. Something like if this guy already exists, then what we do is um, update the uh, so the double tap behavior takes a component, a single tap callback, and a double tap callback. Maybe we want to reset it to use these new things. Um, Something like I don't know. And in the reset, we're going to just blow the timer, right? Something like this. something like this. We are not using the sprite itself in this callback, it seems. We are just calling the, what is this? Okay, this is like the wherever the event happened. So we are no longer creating a new one. We are resetting, cleaning the timeout and the timers, and then in here we do this. Doesn't seem very optimal. We could clean up later, but for now let's see if it works. What? Oh, sorry. Well, that was an instance where it already existed and it was going to create a new one, so at least we know that we are trying to prevent that. Creating. Where did we put that thing? Double tap behavior. Why are you creating a new one? I thought we were clear about not creating new ones. And it didn't work. Still used it twice. So, well, we still gotta fix that. Going to put that on the to-do list at the top. The problem is actually drop items. Remove spendable items. We kind of addressed it. Yeah, I think that's done. Persist container inventory changes. Yes. And now we're going back to doing this because of this issue. So problem with duplicate, double click events send. mm, yeah, that's something to debug. So tomorrow we are going to be tackling that. It's going to be fun, and I think that's it for today. So I will see you tomorrow.